The views on this podcast belong solely to the hosts and guests. They do not represent the official positions of Teamsters Local 222 or the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. All opinions shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act. This podcast is produced for entertainment and educational purposes only. Any reference to products, companies, or services is made for discussion or context and should not be interpreted as an endorsement or paid sponsorship. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as legal advice.
I showed you the video before, right? I mean, you can clearly look behind you and see all the pipes.
I thought it was velvet. What I'm saying, that's really.
It's not a green screen, Dave. We're in a we're in a super high tech.
I was trying to be funny.
It's
All right. This is recording our first podcast. Let's see how this goes. I don't know what I'm doing or how this is going to go, but we'll find out. I'm John. Welcome to Do or Die Podcast. This is my co-host.
Hi, I'm here. I'm Jason.
And we're joined with Dave from ABF, Dave Smith, and Jimmy.
Malohi.
Dude, that's hard to say.
Yeah, I thought you have a hard time on like when you're making a doctor's appointment, right? Over the phone.
Yeah,
I have to spell my name every single time.
every time, like when they come out, I always wait because they pause, and I'm like, "Oh, that's me."
They're all, did you just swear at me, sir?
yeah, I could, yeah. They get embarrassed when I get out there and try to say my name. Mine's opposite. David Smith. They're like, "Okay, I have 300 David Smiths. Which one are you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like 5 people stand up.
Well, Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're from ABF.
Oh, I have to start this. Yeah, I'm from ABF. going on 21 years. Been a steward just maybe over 15. Line driver. So I started out like everybody, pretty much extra board. It's kind of how you guys have to start nights, and then just gradually moved up with seniority. And now I got a Great Falls bid.
And for those that don't know, line haul is basically our feeder department. You guys call it line haul. I'm still learning all the different.
It was so hard to get used to feeder.
Yeah.
Feeders? Like, what the hell is that?
We feed the network. Is my best guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Jimmy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, yeah. I'm Jimmy Malohi. Long-time Teamster. I've been here like 20 plus years. I'm in the feeder department, obviously.
Not here physically. You've been at UPS for 20 plus years.
Yeah. UPS.
Not in our super expensive, amazing studio.
No.
So we keep the donations coming because we need to fund this secret, undisclosed, super expensive studio we got here.
How'd you get this, by the way?
This is a bar. I don't know if I showed you the video before, right? I mean, you can clearly look behind you and see all the pipes.
I thought it was velvet. What I'm saying, that's really.
It's not a green screen, Dave. We're in a we're in a super high tech.
I was trying to be funny. I need a beer to get funny, I guess.
Yeah, when we break those out.
Let's do it. Dave brews his own beer. That's cool though.
Like this is the moment of. This is the hardest part when you brew because you don't know if it's primed because this is a sugar prime. So if you don't do it right and seal it right, you'll just open it and it won't pop fizz. So, and if you open it when it's warm, it'll just spray out. So this is kind of like the big thing. If it goes, then we know we're good.
So we haven't even done that yet.
No, it might be really fucked.
Okay.
It might spray everybody.
That was good, right?
That was good.
I can tell that was good. I don't know anything about it, but I can tell that was good.
Yeah, smell it.
Let's pour a glass.
Oh, wow.
So I was a shop steward. I've done literally just about every job at UPS except for, I think you did revenue audit. I never did that, but done literally every job. Spent quite a few years as a shop steward. Getting distracted by this beer.
That looks like a mill.
Some of the dark beers are harder to get a head on them, so I poured it directly in there so you can smell it.
Talk into the mic there too, Dave. Old truck drivers don't know how to podcast.
Usually more of these high gravity beers or these porters or stouts, they usually don't have a head like that. So I poured it directly so you can smell it because that's how you get the smell.
Where's mine?
Oh, sorry. And Czech Republic, they actually have most of the glass foam. And when you go there, you're thinking you're getting ripped off, but that's how they drink it, because the smell and everything's all part of the taste.
Oh, is that mine? Or were they just
Yes, now.
Okay.
How's it? How is it?
Good. Yeah, real good.
If you don't like coffee, you're probably not going to like this.
Yeah. So
I like all beer.
If you're not going to like coffee, you won't like this.
tell us about this. This is a coffee stout. Look at that.
This is a smoky porter from the Beer Nut.
You pour me one too, bro?
Oh, sorry. From the Beer Nut. And it's a smoky porter, and they know that I wanted to make a coffee beer, so they gave me some extra grains, and then I put some Vietnam coffee beans and let it soak till they drop to the bottom.
That's really good. That's like a Guinness with a little more flavor almost.
Yeah.
Right on. I kind of want to hear about some of your issues you're having over at ABF, because we've got a lot of issues, and I thought it was mostly UPS issues, but was speaking with ABF and Jimmy's. We've been talking with T-Force and Albertsons, and seems like we have a lot of commonalities in what we're experiencing.
Well, talking to Jimmy right from the get-go, I think we were both shocked that we had such similarities, because ABF has always thought that it's all UPS, and we just felt left out. We really felt that way. And a lot of guys
UPS was the only one that mattered.
Yeah, because Britt didn't represent us at all. I mean, and when we had the new labor guy, even just basically ignore us and argue all the time. It was really weird. But after talking to Jimmy, it was like, you guys have the same things we do, almost exactly the same. No representation. Not that it seems like they have other interests rather than the contract. And what really upsets me about the current slate, is it seems like their priorities are elsewhere beside the contract. Like they like to, brag about things, like, different things that you wouldn't really want to be discussed in a meeting. Like if I see you guys in a meeting, I'll be more impressed. I mean, of course you don't want to go bankrupt, but $3 million for a nonprofit place is not, I mean, that's good, but is that your focus? Like if you guys stand up there, I highly recommend that it's all about the contract. I want to be impressed on what have you guys done to the 28 or whatever people you represent of getting these contracts the way they're supposed to be, because they're being diminished. We have them literally taken up from underneath us. That's one of the tactics. Like Yellow had a tactic before they went out to where they did a change of operation without even including the union. And that's where Murphy got involved. And that's when I did the petition and said, hey, we're doing the same thing at ABF, other than they're going down a panel in San Diego and losing grievances that I know you guys would be just like blown away. Like how in the hell did we lose that grievance?
Wasn't it you that was telling me something about a grievance in panel, and you were really disappointed with the way it was represented by Britt? Can you tell that story?
Oh, well,
it was recorded, right?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the testimonials, or the testimonial I gave Jimmy. So at first he was good, and I think I've heard that from you guys. He was good at first, and then
he used to be a hell of a shop steward. Yeah, honestly,
I was giving him kudos, because if we ever had anything that the management didn't like, if they didn't like the driver, then Britt had to come over, but he would take care of it. I'm like, damn, that's cool. Everything's in house, and I'm sure that UPS guys would agree. You don't want to go to the panel where it's an uncertainty, and you don't want to lose it for other barns, right? You don't want to be the guy that screwed it up for everybody else. So in-house is the best way to solve these issues. So after the new labor guy came, and he was saying Porter was going senile. Porter was the guy that knew the contract. I didn't know him a lot, but I knew of him, and he never got in the way with our grievances. He never really went too far of trying to to try to win him. He didn't go out of his way. If he knew that it was a legit grievance, because he has, some background, maybe dispatch or whatever, he knows that that's a legitimate grievance. But Britt was like, oh, I can't work with this guy. He's going senile. And I'm like, how come, I just puzzled, right? So this new guy from Yellow comes on, named Pete, and he's already got this reputation. Like, watch out for this guy. Sure enough, right when he got there, all of a sudden, Britt's like, we can't fucking make him agree to the smallest grievance. I mean, I was just sitting there looking at him going, what the hell is going on with you? You clearly, and I realized that he was just using the UPS contract. He didn't even read our contract. It just got brought out more and more. You would argue a grievance. And there was a situation where I brought the dispatcher, believe it or not, on the phone. I said, hey, Robert, is it true that Levitt messed up this log because Britt wanted to fire Levitt? He knew his son, Levitt. And it was like, are you trying to go after his dad? So anyway, Robert's on the phone, and I go, hey, Robert, is this legit? And he goes, yeah, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that paperwork because he's fine. Britt said right in front of Al Fabers, which is currently he was trustee, right? Mm-hmm. And he, in front of all of us, he goes, Britt says, well, if Robert said it, it must be true. Robert's not even union guy. He's the company. He's the one that's denying our logs, because he's instructed by the company. He used to be a Teamster. So sometimes those are hard guys to work with that bail from a Teamster to be in something in the company. You kind of wonder why that happened. So anyway, for Britt to agree to follow the grievance or pay it or talk to the labor guy because of what the dispatcher said, that never left my mindset. I was like, what in the hell is going on with you? So that just escalated into more stuff to where I went out of town, or I went on a vacation, and these guys organized those 27 guys because Britt was keep on messing up like everything, like the simplest grievances, and everybody is shaking their head. So 27 guys out of like a 55, 60 man board end up showing up in May of 2022. I was mad because I didn't get to be a part of it. I was in the Philippines, but 27 guys, these are people that gave up over $1,000 to be at this trip, lay downs, turns, get out of the way. You know how hard it is to organize, get 27 guys, try to get 27 UPS with the amount of people you have.
Yeah, even 27 out of 400 would be difficult, but that's exactly 50% of your guys' line haul
or more. Yeah. So anyway, that's when Britt wasn't there, of course, because we still thought it was all UPS. We weren't. I think we had, we're jealous, of course. UPS is always the, what you want to go to. They always compare us to Yellow, and we're like, why don't you try to, reach for the stars like UPS, because you guys get paid very well. You got, I thought you had a really good unity because of your contracts, but it's just numbers and everything, different situations. So anyway, they're all over there, and Scott stands up, and Spencer has to take over. And Scott told me that he said these guys just don't feel like they're represented, and they're thinking of taking a withdrawal card. And that's when he had the outburst. And, that's for them to give their testimonial,
Well, let's not glaze over the outburst.
Yeah.
Oh, I was surprised because I haven't seen that from Spencer. I've only met him a couple times, but
now you weren't there, like
I
you
wasn't
said.
There, but
what did some of the ABF guys say happened?
Well, when Scott stood up, because Scott and Greg Allen were the stewards at the time, and they organized this. And so when Scott stood up and said, "Hey, to start a meeting," because Britt was at UPS, he's supposed to be there at the meeting. He ended up being 45 or even later. So he goes, we don't feel like we're represented over here. And some of these guys are thinking about taking a withdrawal card. And everybody told me he slammed the fucking table, said, we represent all you fuckers,
Wait,
bad shit, man.
A withdrawal card meaning withdrawing from the union.
Yeah.
And so they all stood up in unity to say, hey, this is our concern.
Yeah.
We're thinking about withdrawing.
Yes.
And then the outburst.
Yeah. Because why should we pay dues when we're not represented? Of course we want to be represented, but if you're not, it gets to a boiling point, right? So the outburst was like the first, and I never have gotten over this. So like, this fucking guy needs to make an apology to every one of them. I wasn't there, but he needs to apologize to everybody in that meeting. You don't go in there as a freaking secretary treasurer and slam the fucking table. And like I said, I don't know Spencer. The times that I've met him, he hasn't been like that. I don't know if that's, he obviously I'm small potatoes to him, but I never seen the outburst. Now
I've heard of
I don't
him.
know how to get under his skin some guys do. But that being said, 27 guys couldn't believe the reaction that he did. And I just, it really kind of pissed me off because I really do think that
he said something to the effect of like, go ahead and pull your cards then, motherfuckers, or something like that.
Yep, absolutely. So go ahead. I can't even believe he did that with 27 guys. Who in the hell would even tell one person to take a withdrawal card? I mean, aren't we trying to increase the membership? That was horrible to say that shit.
Was there something that led up to it though? Like, was there like an argument, something that led up, or was it just an outburst out of nowhere? I'm just trying to get some context.
From what I'm hearing from these guys, and that's why these testimonials are so important. As a steward, I don't want to speak for them. I'd rather have them talk, but talking to all of these 27 guys, same story. It basically, it initially got brought up that Scott was trying to start the conversation, start the meeting by saying, we don't feel like we're represented here at ABF. And we're still thinking.
So that's what it was. There were so many issues that finally culminated to this meeting. To talk, they were hoping to speak to Britt and saying, what's going on? We feel like we have no representation at all.
Yes. And so when they said, hey, we don't feel like we're being represented, and some of the guys are thinking about taking a withdrawal card, those two things were the key, from what I hear from these guys, that made him just lose it and slam the table and say, we represent all you fuckers. And then they say, well, we're thinking about taking a withdrawal card. Well, go ahead. He said, go ahead. I was like, no, not knowing as much as I know after meeting you guys, I was still blown away that a guy that's high up in the union, anybody in the union,
would act that way.
Even a steward, you're not supposed to act like that.
Paid representative.
And isn't there some kind of thing with the union law, the oath and everything that you got to take?
You have to act in good faith.
Yeah, to encourage, not encourage, but to say, go ahead and take a withdrawal card. That is the opposite what I would expect out of a leader. And but the Brit leadership just went to hell, and I couldn't.
And this is when he was your guys' business agent.
Yeah,
before he was.
But at first he was good. I remember meeting him over at Apollo Burger, and he started talking about how he was even telling me what he was making. I thought it was weird. And then he said, we've kind of let our guard down, and we need to get better, because it was during the time when the union wasn't looking really good, So
you're good, Dave. I think
anyway,
just a little bit closer, about that far away.
So
one of the big issues, and I'm hoping you could explain it, is your guys' slip seat issue. Where I'll let you explain it, but you guys used to get paid for drop and hook time.
Yeah.
And that all went away.
Yeah. And we used to actually get paid a whole half hour because, like UPS, for example, in Mountain Home, from what I understand, you guys have a satellite where they do your work. You can't charge them. Every place that ABF has, we don't have all these kind of luxuries like you do at satellites. It's a truck stop or a meeting point, a hotel. And Beaver's a good example. We would go and drop the set. The guy from San Bernardino or Mojave, it used to be Kingman, they would put it to bed there. Mostly guys out of California, and they would drop their set, go to the hotel. So we would come drop
put it to bed means to get a hotel room.
Yeah, put it to bed, get a hotel room, go in their 10-hour break rest. So we would drop it and charge a quarter hour and then hook it. So we were so agreeable, which we still have this debate, that we can do it under 15. So it kind of got to 15 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So we're like, okay, if we can do it under 15 and there's nothing else, we just want to get paid for our time. Well, when Miller was
you want to get paid for the work you do?
Yeah, that's all.
What the hell?
Yeah. And so we were fine because we used to get a half hour. And then we even realized that if we can do it in 15, we'll do it. But if I have to fix an air leak, I would do both. So anyway, we would include everything that we had to fix on that set in that time because we were getting paid for it. So when Miller represented us with Pete, all of a sudden he said, we don't pay that. You need to take your lunch or you need to slip seat. I'm like, okay. So they weren't paying us anymore.
Explain slip seat, because I didn't know what that was.
Slip seat is kind of a thing that I really didn't know. It's when you get out of a truck. From what I understand, the definition of a slip seat would be like going to Pendleton, Oregon, leaving the set hooked with the paperwork on the dash and walking to the hotel. The driver that's a resident would come in and do his pre-trip and leave. That's what I hear is the definition of a slip seat. So it's
kind of like, for instance, if I went to Mountain Home, I wouldn't disconnect from that set. I'd leave it all hooked
and go to bed.
My meat driver would show up, and then after the hotel stay, I would just get in his truck
going home
and bring the set back.
Yeah, but these guys live in Mountain Home. If you want to use that example, they live in Pendleton. So all of a sudden we're not getting paid for that. And so then they were wondering why we were charging for air leaks. Well, we had it all with the half hour, the quarter hour. If we could fix the air leak and hook up to the set, we were good with that. We just wanted to get paid for our fucking time, right?
Right.
So Pete's like, oh, you guys are making shit up, insinuating that we're still in time when we were actually not putting stuff like that initially because it was covered. So it's been a huge problem. We lost that in panel. And when you lose that, especially like multi-state, you're losing it for everybody. And we had a solid fucking grievance, man. And Britt used maintenance and standards instead of all paid time in the servicing employer. Now, maintenance and standards is a general overview that the company is going to keep high standards, and it can be applicable, but it's not the good grievance. That he didn't even bring up the all time spent. So and we got to listen to the audio. It wasn't a video, but we got to listen to the audio. And after we heard the audio going forward, they won't do it anymore. Said, oh, Pete said that we're not doing it anymore. But I think Miller didn't want to have people hear what he said.
This was a panel that recorded their own meeting, right? This wasn't someone that had a secret microphone.
No, they did it, and we got to watch it. And that's the first time I met Marty Cowan. Kendall was in there, and Marty was talking about Pete, and we didn't get this same thing out of Britt, like he's a problem, like they hired him on purpose, right? It was kind of like almost like a friendship. He's like, where is this Pete? Why do you like him so much? So I was telling Marty Cowan, I was like, we're having a problem with this Pete, and Kendall's in there, and I go, and Marty Cowan goes, you know why they hired him? And I go, yeah, to undermine our contract, and take money from us. He goes, yeah, you guys need to unite. I'm like, fuck yeah, Marty Cowan. And that's the first time I met him. So, and I said, yeah, you don't need to be golfing with these guys. And Kendall got, oh man, he just started shaking. And he had to remove himself from the meeting because he was trying to play with the audio. And he come back and apologized to me. And I go, you're a Teamster. I shouldn't have done that. And I go, dude, this isn't about you, Kendall. What the hell? So anyway, it just, the audio showed Britt giving the worst performance you could on a grievance. Oh my God. And the time we were going to have to meet after this 27 people, nothing changed. So I said, Britt, I need to talk to Marty Cowan. I need to talk to everybody. And he goes, well, Spencer Hoag's got to be there. And at that point, I didn't care because I was pissed off at him what he said to the drivers. I go, whatever. So we're going to have this meeting set up. And Britt calls me and says, can I talk to you guys first? And I go, okay. So I brought Al Favors, who is a trustee at the time. We sat down and Miller had everything like a lawyer. Like I was blown away. It's like, fuck. He goes, oh, I got this. And he was just, everything was organized like he was going to nail it. We talked a little bit more about the grievance to prep him because as your business agent, the stewards, they need to prep that guy, right? Mm-hmm. So we're thinking, okay, cool. And then we listen to the audio and like, not only did you fuck up the grievance, when it was said that there was cleaning supplies at the meet point, you didn't challenge it. And I think Siemens was in the background saying, so you have stuff to clean the truck at the meet points? Yes, that was the labor guy. We know that was a full out lie. Who has cleaning supplies stationed for these meets? And Miller just going maintenance and standards. He read the grievance and just let it go to hell. I mean, I think Mick even listened to this audio.
Boy, that's familiar. It sounds familiar.
So after that, it got to the petition point, and we stopped around 55, 60. We had a lot of people sign that. And there was guys from the dock too, but mostly drivers. And we sent that to the Oz team, and nothing happened. But we knew you guys were going in your contract. I knew there was a lot of stuff. They were a new slate, so we gave them a lot of time. And then eventually, 4 months later, I sent an email to the freight director and O'Brien. I go, hey, what's up? We haven't heard anything. We know you've been busy, and you're doing a good job because we think you're doing a good job. So we gave all this time. Now, what's going on. And next thing you know, I get a call from Ron Siemens, the freight director out of San Bernardino. Goes, first thing he said to me, goes, hey, and this is 4 months after the petition. So we found out later that we think that he told Siemens right away, but Siemens didn't give a shit about calling us, right? So he calls us. He goes, the first thing he said to me was, so you guys are still pissed off? I go, what do you mean? Even after that great contract you got? And I go, what the hell does the contract have to do with protecting the contract? And he goes, well, give me some examples. And I gave him examples, and I thought he was going to straighten me out because he's supposed to know more than us, right? And he didn't challenge. He goes, okay, just kind of blew it off. And he didn't even have a solution or nothing. He just said, well, basically, like he got the information and it was over. It was just kind of like, just making a call because he had to. There was no like plan, like, okay, well, I'm going to sit down with the panel in San Diego and talk to about this and get back to you why you lost, because we didn't know why we lost. We just know we weren't represented. We know that. So I got to go down to the panel and witness this. This is after we got Miller out of there. I think Spencer
So
Hogue.
did you guys sign a petition to remove him as business agent?
No, we didn't. I think it got so heated. I think Spencer, and this is just my guess theory, is he took him out of there and put an ABF guy in there to calm down the fire, right? And that was Alan Tracy that really didn't have a whole lot of time in there. So Alan had to represent one of these grievances that we thought once again was a slam dunk. We go down there, and the San Diego panel was like three guys here, three guys here, and then I'm arguing with Pete, and we're kicking his ass on the argument, but I'm not getting anybody over there on our side to ask questions. And we ended up staying there and witnessed how they handled a guy getting fired. Those guys stood up when they're fired. They're known to really do a good job on fire, but they didn't do shit, and we lost it, and they didn't even tell us why. You know, it's like, and Pete, you could tell he knew how to lie. He was really good at being deceptive. And even Mick and Britt, and I'll bet you Spencer says he's smart. I know two of them said that he's a smart guy. I'm like, if that guy's smart, then it's because he's really good at deception. So if you call that intelligence, so be it. But he didn't even know the contract. Pete didn't know the 34-hour restart, and he didn't know the 2-hour mini. This is a labor guy fighting our contract. Miller didn't know shit, we realized, because he was floating with your contract. So there's pieces of it that I found out later that in your contract, but it was horrible misrepresentation. And then Alan kind of got thrown in there, and he needs to learn the line because he's Doc like Mick. So we seen it down there. We seen it just like fold. It's like, why did we come down here? So that's the nut of it. I mean, that's a lot of information.
Now with your paid time, with that 15 to 30 minutes of paid work, that was specifically in your contract, correct?
Yeah, drop and hook time.
Well,
all time spent in the service of the employer. And we knew that we had to take a break, especially when they came out. The FMCSA did the 30-hour mandatory for 8 hours, right? So you can do a beaver under 8 hours. You guys know that, right?
Yes.
So they were forcing them using an excuse. Well, you got a slip seat. We don't pay slip seat, but we're moving equipment to do our job that's ABF related, not personal. And we're like using all these arguments, and we can't win. And, you have to take a lunch between your 4th and 6th hour. Well, the language in the central states is way different than the West. It doesn't specify it. It says, and you guys know it's how you interpret the contract, but it says to me very clearly, it's up to the driver when he takes that break, and you just have to be compliant. So these guys have to take a half hour if they want to get paid. And who's going to give a half an hour when they want to go home? It's a manipulation clearly to not pay you. And then we got to the point where, okay, what about the Vegas meeting beaver? Oh, we'll pay that because he's got to have permits. Until one of the dispatchers told him, well, what if we bring a permitted truck for Arizona? Then they started not paying that. They would go out of the way not to pay it, but we couldn't get representation at all on this. Like, he would argue and say, I don't see anything contractual. On one of the situations with Britt that Ron had to come in I was like, Britt, that's our lane to Vegas. We're going to grieve the beaver. It's reverse flow. He goes, well, I don't see anything contractual to fight that. Ron had to finally tell him it's primary lane, and it's in the contract. It's in the change of operation. That's our primary lane. Your primary lane, and so in our term, would be beaver or Winnemucca, right?
Yeah, Winnemucca.
That's your primary, or not Winnemucca, sorry, Mesquite.
Oh,
That's your primary lane because the freight flows west. So they were coming reverse flow, but Britt didn't want to fight it at all. He just laid down. So there was a relationship with Britt and the labor guy that I couldn't, everybody had their theory. And the only thing that made sense is there was some kind of payoff. But then we find out that these guys are having these fucking get-togethers to get you to, and I'm like, isn't that a conflict of interest?
Up until me speaking with you guys in other companies, I thought the exact same thing, that this is a UPS issue, right? I don't want to make any accusations, but I thought, why do they seem to always side with the company?
Yeah.
So I thought maybe there was some sort of UPS relationship, but then I'm speaking with ABF drivers who have the same issue. And I was just speaking with a Geneva driver last week, and he's saying so many similarities. I'm like, are you sure you don't work for UPS?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you're working at Geneva? Because it's the exact same thing going on.
Yeah.
And
you, Albertsons.
You mentioned some similarities. What are some of the similarities with the issues that you see?
Well, just the the non-representation. We talked about grievances. Like your main issue was the grievances. They weren't doing anything with the grievances, right?
No.
Same with
laying
us.
down. Yep.
Yeah, our grievances, and this is from, we're talking feeder, we're talking package, we're talking hub. Grievances will be filed and just go off into the ether.
I had one like that a couple of years ago. I thought it was a slam dunk. You used the words that I use. It should be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I bid on a run that was shown as a mileage, and they corrected the mistake the next day because I'm a vacation coverage driver. They bid it out. I picked it as a mileage, and then the very next day they found the issue and corrected it, but never told me. So because they don't want to have to go back and rebid in a whole nother day and a half.
And that's another problem is the secrecy down there. Like there's no communication. When you file a grievance, it goes off. They don't. You have to be the one. Which okay, I'll contact you. Like so, what we've been doing is going back and we've been emailing so we can get records. So we can, because you can use that in court, emails.
Mm-hmm.
And so, after being lied to so many times by Britt and Spencer, we decided to, okay, let's email. So you file a grievance, and then after like a week, what we would do is you ask Britt, hey, did you get my grievance? Because you get on the jot form, you get the email text that says, oh, we got your grievance, we're processing it. So what we do is we email Britt a week later saying, hey, how's my grievance? And he's like, oh yeah, we're looking at it, whatever. And then you hear nothing. Wait another week, email back. Hey, how's the grievance? What's going on? And he'll just give you excuses. Oh yeah, we're doing this or that. And then it gets to the point to where 6 months later, you either have to file the charges, because the way the NLRB looks at it, you have 6 months to correct the issue, to hold them accountable, or it's shame on you.
Right.
And they kind of hope that you don't say nothing about it, so that 6 months it goes away, grievances thrown out, all that stuff. So before 6 months, you contact Britt and you say, hey, nothing's been done with my grievance. I'm ready to file these charges. And in some cases, he would try to solve it. Like the whole thing when we were in our meeting, and Devin Bugger said, hey, I'm within a week of my 6 months, I'm going to go ahead and file NLRB charges. And Britt said, oh yeah. So he looked into it and got his grievance fixed, right? Well, there's so many of us that have charges now because of it. And we're finding out that maybe this goes higher up. I don't know. Like, are they getting help? Because we're filing grievances, we're filing charges, and still nothing's happening with our grievances. And like our grievance system just seems to be broken.
I agree with that.
That's all you got, right?
That's all we have. That's like
should be
contract.
You can have the best contract in the world,
Yeah.
but if your grievance system, if you can't hold the contract, you can't fix any of these problems. Like we don't have a grievance. We don't have anything.
Contract is law, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's what both employees and employer and the union agreed to, and it should be held up to. The biggest thing that I find, like hearing all you guys talk and talking to other drivers and fellow Teamsters, is communication and representation. Like there's no communication or lack of, and people aren't feeling represented. And that's kind of a big deal, right? Especially when it comes to, feeling like you're not valued as an employee. Is there no like online application or online process to follow, like see the process of a grievance? Or is it just, hey, Britt, how's my, because I feel like that would help a lot.
You make a good point. Sorry to interrupt. You make a great point, because you go over to Britt's office and it's all on the fucking floor in a dark room.
That's
all his paperwork. Yeah.
That's the process.
Yeah, that's Britt. You haven't seen it in his office?
his
He's
office.
got all paperwork everywhere. I'm like, what in the fucking, it's dark. And if you ask him, he doesn't know where it is. It's not in the archives.
Always
you can't
excuses.
find that. There's always an excuse. And we still got grievances. We don't know where they're at.
So if it was online, like if you could log in,
he had a good
Teamsters 222 grievance procedure, and then you could see a list of all the grievances that people have filed. Click on it.
Yep.
I don't think we're technologically advanced as a society to have such a thing.
when
I
Scott
just
told
think
me
that would be an easy
about
resolution. I mean,
when Scott told me your idea, that was spot on.
Well, that's
Do
why
it
I'm
through
excited.
the chat.
Yeah, this is not my idea. There's other locals that already use a Grieve Track app or a job
Grieve
form
Track.
system. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got Britt to admit that he had Grieve Track and he didn't want to raise his hand.
Yeah,
they don't want to use it. They have it, but they don't want to use it.
Yeah.
So I basically kicked the door down to go to this meeting. Right? It's an IBT meeting. They have it all around the country, and this year they had it in Salt Lake City. And I think
Pull that
they have
right up,
several.
Jimmy. Sorry, a little closer.
They have several of these trainings, right? And it's for stewards. It's for senior officers. It's for anybody that's representing the membership. You go over there and you kind of learn how to just be a leader. You learn how to negotiate contracts.
Like a steward, a shop steward.
Was this the caucus training or something else?
No, it was training for officers. Basically, that's what it said. It was officer training. And I had emailed Spencer if I can go, and he told me, "Oh, this is probably not a good idea." He said, "I went years ago and I didn't really learn anything." And so I thought that was funny. So I emailed the director of this training and I said, "Hey, I'd like to go. Can I bring some stewards with me, or is it just for like BAs and secretary treasurers and stuff like that?" And they're like, "No, absolutely. Bring whatever stewards. It's in your backyard. Bring who you can come, who's willing to come. But you have to get permission from your senior officer." And so I showed Spencer that email. Then he kind of changed his tune. He's like, "Well, yeah, you can come if you want. It's okay. Just go ahead. I'll sign off." I'm like, "Okay." So I take the time off, and then he texts me. He's like, I don't know if you really want to go. Like, this is probably not. You're gonna have to take time off. You're not getting paid for it, but that's fine. I use option days. I went, and what I found out over there is like I'm rubbing elbows with their peers. So I'm sitting next to a secretary treasurer, a BA from Denver. There's some from Illinois. There's other Barnes there from other states. And the whole time I was there, it was only me. You would think there would be our other stewards. You would think
like educating and strengthening our membership. And as a shop steward, learning leadership skills.
Yes,
might be beneficial.
Right. It was only me, and I had contacted like Lester. I had contacted Tori. That none of them even knew about it. And so the whole time I was there, I was talking to these other, secretary treasurers and BAs, and Britt was pretty careful in there. Like he was trying to listen into what I was talking to these guys about. But one instance, they were talking about a Grieve Track. They're like, so he said, "Hey, what Grieve?" No, they said, "We have a Grieve Track, this app. Who uses it?"
Oh,
right. What which barn, or does everybody use it? And basically everybody raised their hand. Right.
No.
And then I'm looking at Britt because I know we don't use something like that.
He'd raise his hand.
He's
like, "Yeah, we use it."
Yeah, he slowly starts to raise his hand, and I'm like, "Really? Okay." He wouldn't even look me in the eye when he did it. And so afterwards, I hit him up. I'm like, "Hey, I noticed you raised your hand in the meeting. So what's this Grieve Track?" And he shows me. This is what, after everybody left, I asked him, and he shows me the system they have where you can look at, like, for instance, let's say you look at Jimenez. We see how many grievances you filed in your lifetime, what grievances, who you've talked to, who you've contacted to about, how far the grievance along is it. And so I'm like, that's funny. Like, how come we don't use this? We don't know. He's like, well, it's it's in its infancy. We really don't. We're trying to master this thing so we can bring it out to everybody.
How long ago?
By everybody.
How long ago was that?
This was last summer.
So it's being used by everybody else but us, and it's in there, and according to Britt, it's in its infancy. And
right.
So he has access to it because he showed it to you.
Yeah.
So are they using it but not giving access to other people?
Possibly. It looks like they're using it, but they're not sharing it with the membership. Like I say, everything is like in lock and key over there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to uncover information. You have to like corner him to basically get information out of him.
So my question would be, because I don't really know much about what's going on other than like what I've heard from like John and a little from you and stuff. And so I'm really new to this whole thing. But when information is withheld, or you have to kind of like poke and prod to get some of it, and you're getting rebuttal and just negative abrasiveness, why is that?
It's
is there something being hidden? That's kind of what I'm
that's the
getting.
feeling,
like,
yeah.
Usually like when, someone's not giving you the information you need, or things are kind of being hidden, why is that?
Yeah.
That's the
It's
question.
$1 million question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, I mean, you could conjecture as to why, but really whatever the reason why, it shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be like
Our union officers should be fully transparent.
that.
Not only should we have to ask and beg and go into these hostile meetings where you guys are asking questions, and just because they're difficult questions, you guys are getting
stonewalled
and surveilled while you're looking at an IBT audit, the results of an IBT audit, and constant hostility and abrasiveness. But they should be forthright with it. And here's what just happened. Not 12 months after the fact say, hey, did this happen? That's transparency. And we were kind of making the joke, or I think you said something, but you were talking about speaking with the St. George guys and that they don't ever talk to them. And I was like, really, what we're running on here is literally back to the basics. Like, like the new 222 promises to speak with the members. The new 222 promises to be forthright with things that are being done, and we promise to follow through on a grievance.
Yeah,
like to be transparent,
communication.
Like I think he used the example of something like it's almost like an employer, like, hey, come work for us. We promise to pay you on time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, do you want a paycheck? We promise that we'll make sure it's accurate when you get paid.
Yeah, we promise to show up in your barns and
give you hot dogs.
Yeah, I mean,
while they're eating pizza.
I personally may not be as politically savvy as them because they do have the experience part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you've lost your connection to the members, you're doing it wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to have the heart and integrity. This isn't a club over there, guys. Come on.
Well, and that's why I think that when they say strength and experience, they use that strength and experience against you. Like, yeah, we're not going to beat them on technicalities. We're not going to beat them on the knowledge, right? Because they have lock and key, and
years.
But there was a point where they didn't know how to do any of that stuff
there was
either.
A point, yeah, they had to be taught this stuff, and they keep it close to their chest so that people can't run against them. Like imagine a local where everybody was involved in the process, and everybody knew exactly what they're doing. Like if you talk to all the members, people don't know like a lot of the basic things that you should be doing. And we're learning this as we're going along through trial and error, and we're being stonewalled at meetings because these guys are experienced at gaslighting us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what their experience. Their strength is maybe they have connections higher up or with other barns and to keeping us down. And so, like when I connected with Dave, like we've been talking about this for a while. We're like, you know what? We're being ignored over here as in the feeder department at UPS. Like
his head probably blew, like us too.
Yeah, yeah. Then that's why
it's still hard to process that you guys you're going through the same stuff.
The golden child isn't getting what everyone thinks we're getting.
Yeah,
because you guys are the leaders, right?
Yeah.
You have the most people, the most Teamsters over there, and then you have Geneva and then ABF. We're the little guy. We've always been the little guy, but we've united over years. We got a lot of unity at ABF, but when we found out UPS was in the same boat, it's just hard to imagine.
To me, what we're doing right here, I think, is their worst nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're talking with ABF, Albertson's reaching out.
I didn't know about the audit until Jimmy told me. Nobody at ABF knew about the audit.
Nobody would have known if it weren't for one or two feeder drivers.
Please elaborate on the audit.
Nobody would have ever known about that.
What audit is this?
So this is the IBT audit.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
IDO.
Well, there's two.
Yeah, that's an investigation, right?
Okay.
And so the audit, they came down, the IBT came down, and whether this is random or whatever, they'll tell you, oh, this is random. This is,
and it could be just
I'll give it
just a maintenance type audit from the IBT. Let's look in.
Clean
Let's
house.
yeah.
I think Tony calls it an ICAM. That's an IBT ICAM, just basic audit. Like you say, it could be random. They used to, from what I understand, do it more consistently, but now it's just random. It's like a drug test.
Yeah.
You know? And
So
they got out. Sorry.
Yeah. So they performed this audit and they came in and there was what we could see was like 27 violations. Well, they call it corrections. I've heard Britt say call it violation. And
yeah, Britt told me it was violations 23.
Yeah. And look, it could have been, right? Like, this is what we're talking about, is a total lack of transparency.
Mm-hmm.
If you get audited and if you're operating above board, you don't need to hide it. If you get audited, you take it to the membership and say, we just got audited. Here's some things that we've missed. Here's some things that should be corrected. And here's why. Here's the steps we're going to take to correct this. And then it's over. You have nothing to hide. It's like speaking the truth all the time. You don't ever have to lie.
And that reminds me, when I took the steward job, I just knew that when you take a steward job, that you better be damn honest and by the book, by the contract. You better not be caught helping your buddies, because that'll destroy you as a steward. You have to be honest and straight up with these guys, whether they like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get that from the hall.
Good shop steward would say, this is what you need to do in order to maintain your job. Because if they start writing you up for this, then like there's no recourse, you know. So a good shop steward, I mean, you could speak to this. You've been a shop steward a long time, but sometimes you have to tell the member, like when I was in the hub, a lot of members would get mad that I didn't tear off management's head because they no-call no-showed. Mm-hmm. And I would just say, like, literally, dude, all you have to do is show up on time to this job. That's quite literally, they can't write you up for not working hard enough, for not being fast enough. You just got to show up on time. And sometimes you have to tell the member, this is what would be best for you.
Yeah, and to that point, I've learned also that the driver that has a grievance, even though you might not think that that's a valid grievance, he might be right. So that's why it's so important to have the communication. And I seen that in Britt. Like, if he didn't buy the story, it wasn't true. It was like, what the hell is going on? Because the more people that, if you get a group of feeders, I'm sure you're going to come up with a better solution because you got all these angles. The other thing I noticed that this new slate does, or the old slate, not the new slate, they're more of disciplinarians, I've noticed. Like we have, and I'm not going to name names, but I know two of them that tried to give grievances to the people they work with on their shift. And it had nothing to do with, like, for example, if you're a business agent or a trustee, your job is not to use that power to discipline somebody in where you came from. Like if it was clerical, dock, or driver, that is not your job. A steward's job. We are not an authoritarian. We're not a disciplinarian. Yeah, maybe we could have some impact if a guy's out of line, but that's not our job. Our job is purely representation. It's to uphold that contract. And we got guys over there and women over there that I've seen use that to discipline people.
So the shop steward is disciplining the other hourly teamster.
The guys, well, that has happened, but I think most of the stewards, as far as I know, don't do that because we talk about it. But the people at the hall do. That came from ABF, and I've gotten testimonials, and I've heard it over the years, and then it came true, and it's like, what the hell? You can't use that to go after people you don't like. That's not your job. You don't have power at the union. Your power is to represent. That's period. You're not over there to be in a club. You're not over there to buddy and go picnic with these people, especially the guys from UPS management or ABF management. That's not your job. Your job is purely to represent your membership, bring clarity, be transparent, and just, you have to show, like you said, the heart. You have to really show your people that you care. And if you don't care, you don't belong there. And I've heard these guys they want to get over there and because they don't want to work and they want to kiss up to be over there. Is that really why? If you don't go over there for the right intentions, you shouldn't be there. That job, a steward's hard enough, but if you're going to be a business agent over there, man, you better be all in because you not only are you the image of the union, you are representing people. It is a very important job. And if you're not willing to go all in, then you shouldn't be there. And I'm still pissed off from one of the dispatchers because we are always putting out fires. You guys know, stewards, we're always putting out fires. And all I want to do is just get paid for what I do. And when you're not representing and you're actually, I mean, I learn more, but if you're not represented, you have nothing. Your steward job is just a joke. If you're not represented by the hall, all you can do is try to make the drivers understand you're trying to fight for them. But if you don't get anything done, you look bad because they are bad.
Well, this comes down to lack of steward training. Like, I've been a steward coming on 3 years now, and I've had one training. And the last training that they had was last election. That's when they try to get the stewards together and try to train. And during that training, it was basically talking about stuff that people already know, your wine garden rights. It wasn't like the deep knowledge you need as a steward. Like a lot of things that you're explaining, like that should be just known as, this is what you do as a steward. And so they don't get training and they don't know, like they get sent into these meetings and they don't know what they should be doing, right? And they don't know if they're going to get backed up by the local. Certain issues you get backed up by the local, certain issues you just get ignored. But they never offer any training on
they used, when I was a shop steward in the hub 18 years ago or something like that, they did I think it was a full weekend. I did at least one of them down at Thanksgiving Point, and it was put on by the IBT and shop stewards from all over the country and representatives of the IBT. It was very, very good and informative. We really dug into the process and the issues.
It seemed like the shop stewards back in the day, shop stewards had a lot of power.
Yeah.
It
doesn't seem like they have power now.
There was a time where a grievance was respected.
And feared.
Yeah. Like the company did not want to talk about a grievance. Nowadays, management will basically grievance, I'll help you fill it out, basically. It's like what the hell? Like they have no respect for grievances.
But why is that? So, because yes, back in the day, shop stewards, 20 years, 23 years, whatever, when I first started, a shop steward was someone that you looked up to. It's like, oh, he's a shop steward, and it's someone that was respected. Management respected him. The workers respected him. The grievance process was respected. Nobody wanted a grievance filed against them. And now it seems like shop stewards, they're not respected as much. Management doesn't, I don't want to say fear, but like management doesn't respect their authority.
They bypass them as well.
Yeah. So why is that?
It's just the constant, just like how our local just seems to be going downhill. When was the last time?
So it's from the local, you think? Like the support from the local?
I think that's the only answer,
100%.
Because if the company knows you're not supported, they're just going to go after you, right?
They see it all the time. They're like, your grievances aren't being heard, so we'll just keep. Like, when was the last time you heard somebody getting back pay for being fired? Just like they just fire somebody.
Oh.
And it's been a long time since I heard of somebody getting back pay.
And even penalty pay.
Yeah, penalty pay.
Supposedly our new historical UPS contract was supposed to be stronger grievances and better back pay.
Right.
Britt has literally stood out there with our sleeper 43-cent shortage, stood out there all day to specifically tell drivers, you're not getting penalty pay on this. We can't force the company. Article 17 is a back pay.
Right.
Like penalty pay. Or not back pay, but penalty pay.
So I know one of the biggest issues that kind of like sparked, you guys wanting to start something new was the mileage pay or whatever, right? The shortage or whatever.
The MOU.
Yeah. So I don't really know much about it.
I want to put a sound effect on that.
MOU. Yeah, there you go. But the gist of what someone like myself who doesn't know much about anything, from what I gather,
design.
From what I gather is there was a lack of pay per mile that was being shorted. And
are you talking about the sleeper shortage or the
mileage?
The mileage overcharge.
Overcharge. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I mean, it sounds all bad, right? Okay, so that was happening. It was unknown. It was discovered by Matt Lapatina, right?
Initially.
He was in contact with James McDonald.
Britt didn't know about it. There was a big thing made about it. People got together. They talked about it. Britt said that he'll look into it. Grievances were filed. But Britt correct me if I'm wrong, ended up being the one who signed off on it a year prior.
Mhm.
So he knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
He signed off on it. It wasn't voted on.
Mm-mm.
It directly affects drivers. It's pay. So it should have been voted on, in my opinion.
Of course.
So that sounds bad.
Not good.
I
Well,
mean,
there's only
you're denying that you know about it, but you signed off on it.
well, there's only two options in my opinion, and neither one of them are good. You signed off on it and the date is correct and you lied about it for a year, or you fraudulently signed one and backdated it to try to cover your trails. There's only two options there because there is an MOU that was signed upon discovery. It had been signed 12 months prior.
Okay, so that sounds bad.
And then he had been asked multiple times, why is this happening? We're not sure. Maybe it's out of Phoenix. Maybe it's out of Dallas. We're not sure what's going on.
And we have the proof through emails, and we say minutes in meetings, but we can never get the correct minutes from these guys.
Was that you who no, or was it Dale Varney? And you were telling me about it, but the recorder, one of the
Right.
minutes.
Oh no, yeah, that was at the meeting I was at earlier this year. I think it was Dell's first meeting back after he reinstated his dues.
And the recorder is somebody who literally types out all the verbiage that's happening.
This is their argument as to why their argument as to why we don't need audio visual recording of the meetings. Like I could go on and on as to why we should have them. This is a rumor, and I've got a rumor segment. So start thinking about rumors at ABF I want to address, okay?
Rumors.
But
who is Dale Varney? The real Dale Varney.
Dale Varney was asking President Miller, is the Union or Die an official union social media page or not? And Britt said, I was asked to admin the page. And Dale Varney said, let me ask you again. Is Union or Die an official union business Facebook page? And he said, again, I was just asked to admin that page. So Dale Varney says, I would like the minutes to be read back. And the recording secretary said, oh, I just take notes. It says, Dale Varney asked a question and Britt answered it. So the argument that there's notes taken in our meetings and they're accurate and fully transparent and non-bias is horseshit.
Okay, imagine this. You're in a courtroom. Very high profile case, yeah. And the lawyer's like, read back the da-da-da. And the recording dude is all like, the judge says something, the lawyer says something back. That's basically what it is.
You get fired real quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird. So is there, okay, with all that happening, is there a way that, because that was like one of the key points of organizing, right?
Well, one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So is there a way, knowing allegedly what happened, it being signed off, whatever, that it could have been resolved better by the current slate that would have kind of fanned the flames a little bit?
Well, Britt admits it himself. He admits himself that he dropped the ball on it, that he could have done a better job.
Here's what you do is, if you believe that is best for the members, you don't do it in secret. You say, we're thinking this would be the best course of action if we just take a few more cents per mile instead of the manual calculation of $1.25 per hour for our mileage drivers. This will charge you guys a little bit more, but here's why we think it's a good thing. What do you guys think? It's your money.
Bring it to the
More
members.
money. That's the big thing right there.
What would be so wrong about
That's
that?
why we're all here. Right?
And this is the part that irritates me the most. His initial reaction, and there was post on Facebook and some emails. Well, you guys make more, you should pay more. He decided that for our money.
Wow. An actual quote from Britt.
You guys make more, you should pay more. And that's the argument. Well, if they're overfunding it, then it's good for everybody. Okay, ask us for permission.
It is good for everybody to be overfunded, right? I mean, that sounds good. You're putting more money in the bank.
Traditionally, the feeder drivers have already overfunded that because it's based on per hours.
But to have you make more, you should pay more.
Attitude.
And sign it in secret and then lie about it.
Yeah,
it's not good.
That's
good. To quote you, that's bad.
It's not good.
Let's cue the rumor mill. We got a segment coming up. Cue the gossip grinder. You guys are all waiting for something. This is going to be all done in post editing.
Really?
We'll edit this
I thought
part
he
out.
was gonna like bring out like a pepper grinder or something.
Okay, the gossip grinder, where we throw the rumors into the grinder and see what comes out. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there, and credit to Strength and Experience. They are very good at spreading rumors.
That's their experience.
So what are some of the rumors you've heard at over at ABF?
You know, we're in the dark over here. A lot of stuff is either brought out from our new business agent, but it's there's a lot of questions that I would like to be answered the way they've acted on this new slate. But as far as rumors, I mean, there's so many I can't even count them. But it's always something that always ends up being a mystery at the hall, or you know, why are they doing this or doing that? You guys probably have a lot better examples than we do, because we've always been left in the dark. I'm still trying to process all the stuff that you guys told us that we didn't know about between the audit. I mean, how did we not know about an audit? How's that possible? But I guess the rumors are, is this audit legit? You know, when I looked at it, it looked like it was a copy of the original. It wasn't an official audit. It was the corrections, like you said. That's not an audit. That would be what you at the hall want to do to correct your audit mistakes, right? So there's a lot of rumors going around of just, you know, how the hall's been, you know, running lately, and how it's just a secret. And notice how they're not coming out. It's like they just want everybody to not know. That's the big one for me. They just don't want anybody to know. And like you said, the more people find out about the truth, which that's all we want is the truth. We want to be represented and have integrity with our union hall, and we don't see that. So a lot of it, to answer your question, I can't give you really good examples because we are left in the dark, and it's very quiet. Even our business agent, which is, you know, handle the grievances. You know, it's election year, so you don't know if this is genuine or not. But the guy from the dock is doing better than Britt did in the first couple of weeks, which is amazing. But we still have questions about that. You
just made me realize something that we touched on this earlier, but all the contention around so many of these issues, because it's done in the dark. Like I said before, if you got audited and there were some things that needed to be corrected, you tell everybody.
Yeah, of course.
If you think you have a better plan for our mileage contributions into our health and welfare retiree trust, you take it to the members and you ask them, and you make your case.
Yeah.
It's the fact that everything is done in the dark and we have to pry and prod the information out. It causes all this contention.
Like they think they know more than you, and you're not important. I'll do
it.
Well,
that may be true, but that's my money.
Exactly.
Like, you may know better than me, then make the case for it and be open about it.
Yeah.
It's all the operating in the shadows, and now we have to. It causes so much contention in our hall, and on certain people's eyes, we look like the bad guys. We're the provocateurs.
Yeah, Union or Die is full of.
Yeah,
boy, that's tasty. Yeah,
and the rumor I'm hearing is anti-union. Like, we're anti-union guys.
Union busters. Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good.
Yeah. So after 20 plus years of a Teamster, you just woke up one day and said, "Fuck all this! I'm going to destroy it from within."
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. And you know, they seem to be doing a pretty good job themselves. That's the way I see it. Britt and Spencer and them.
Well, when your hall doesn't have the trust it needs to and the representation that we need to, yeah, things are broken for sure.
Yeah.
I just think the quietness, the lack of transparency, and then when you question it or you bring up a concern and it's attacked,
right?
That's just it's a level of a concern for me, and it shows lack of representation.
It really does. When you show up to a meeting and the Roberts rules are weaponized against you to speak, like, this is basically a town. Like, you go to a town hall meeting, it's for the town. they go in there and they voice their frustration.
How were they used against you? Like, is there
Yeah, they're used so that you can't say certain things, or you can't bring up certain subjects, or you can't, now they're making it so you have time limits, and they're saying, oh, okay, we used to do it informal, now we're doing it proper, the meetings, and they're still not. They're still breaking their own rules just to silence members from. Oh, that sounds good.
That was
That's always
Good job, Dave.
But they're using this to make sure that we can't get up and speak. And when you do, they try to intimidate you to like when I try to bring up what was the one when we were at the sorry, I'm thinking beer now. But what was that last meeting where we were at? And
you were talking about the ballots being mailed out for amendment votes, correct?
Yeah. And I wanted to bring that to the floor for a vote so that ballots can be mailed out to the 4,500 members. We can get a true vote.
That's how many members we have.
Yeah, that's how many members we have. And so when we're at a bylaw amendment, 200 people vote on what 45 members have to comply with. That's not really fair if you mail it out to everybody. But they fought us tooth and nail. Well, they wouldn't even let me bring it up. They say that my motion is out of order. When we brought it up the last bylaw amendment, we brought that very same thing up. To have them mailed out. It wasn't out of order. We voted on it. We lost. We didn't have the numbers at the time.
Which is the process of amending a bylaw.
Process, yeah.
That 4,000 to 4,500 members, they codified that in our Article 17 of our bylaws of the $1 per member per month plus $1 times roughly 4,000 people per month.
I remember you telling me about that.
Taylor and I, with the Polynesian Caucus, we started. We wanted to hammer in bylaws. We're like, okay, let's work on these bylaws. There's some bylaws that look like we need tweak or change to kind of put the power back into the membership. And the steward election was the very first one. We were like, okay, let's hold these stewards accountable. Like we were talking earlier, how do you hold a steward accountable? The good ones or the bad ones? Well, let's have a vote. Like every 3 years, we have a steward election. So
I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, and it was well thought out. Like we voted on it. We argued it at our caucus meetings, and we worded it to where it included the whole membership, it didn't just benefit UPS. And so, it was well thought out. We brought it to the membership. We brought it, because how you're supposed to bring a bylaw is you get 7 members to sign a petition, basically a petition. You word the bylaw and you have 7 members sign it. You bring it to them before the meeting and they propose it in the meeting. And then we vote on if we're going to go with the bylaw, if we're going to, and how we want to go about it. Like we want to mail out ballots and stuff like that. Well, once it passed, then they have to read it at, was it 3 consecutive meetings? They have to read it at 3. And on the 3rd, we vote, right? And we lost that one. But in hindsight, everybody got to see how bylaws work and how you vote them in. February 4th is when we brought that very first bylaw, and we're going through the process. Meanwhile, they went through some process without the membership knowing, because remember how they mailed out the information for the bylaws to everybody? We're going to be voting on May 3rd. They didn't. Did you? I don't ever remember receiving a letter saying.
I didn't get one.
Didn't they say it was on the bottom part of the lagoon? Did they say that it was on the bottom part of the lagoon thing?
Maybe, I don't know.
I never got anything.
I never got a lagoon thing.
Well, I don't. Speaking of just not knowing, that's the only thing I heard was a little teeny section on the bottom of the flyer to get everybody to go to Lagoon to meet and greet. That I never seen it. I didn't know anything about it. I wouldn't have known it if Jimmy didn't tell me. If you guys didn't tell me, we would not even know this vote existed or even was proposed.
So did it pass?
No. You have to have 2/3. Right?
For the steward election, right? You got to get 2/3. It was voted down, which is fine. Like, we wanted to mail it out so we got a fair representation. 2/3 is hard to beat at the hall. Especially when they have their BAs, you're voting against the e-board and the BAs. And
it was close, right? It was even close.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't like for 2/3. We didn't meet that mark at all.
Well, I know that, but we were pretty close.
Yeah, we had there's 200 people there, and half voted for it, half voted against it.
So why would you vote against it?
That's another $1 million question. Why would
sounds
you?
pretty good.
Their arguments were you're going to lose your best stewards.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
But if they're the best stewards, then
They're
they're going to be voted.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they're going to be reelected.
That was
You guys called it Letterman jacket stewards, and when you said that, I was like, oh, I know a few of those. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's pretty smart. That's a good way to put it, because they float, and I've noticed when guys get up on the seniority, and I hope to God I never am one of these guys. They kind of think that they're that the rules don't apply to them, and so as long as they're taken care of, I don't really care about you because I'm above you, kind of thing. My seniority, and that's horrible thinking as a Teamster, right? So I've been there 15 plus years, but I want to be voted back in because I might not be doing a good job that I think my heart's in it, but there's always a good addition guy moving up. That's why we got Dalton. He's a young guy. We want him to move up because when I was a steward, we were talking about being in the dark. We had to reach out. I went to Vegas, Albuquerque, even what's the other one? The Democratic Union. I even reached out to them. Yeah, the TDU, to find answers. We were just blown away on how we didn't know what the hell was going on. So it takes a lot of time, and you'll get better and better, and you learn stuff. There's no way you can remember all this stuff. I learn stuff every day, but if you don't have a guy to come in with new energy, you're just going to be complacent, right? So I have to earn this job. I remember in that vote, some of the people that talked said that I got the impression they thought that they deserved it. It's like, if you're going to be a steward, you don't get a trophy. If anything, you're going to be an asshole unless you do your job. But if you get caught lying, there's a lot of stuff. You have to do it for the right reason. It's not anything but doing the right thing and not expecting anything from it. If I get people that respect me, that's enough. But it's not a trophy. And you need to earn it. 3 years. They vote the hall in every 3 years. The steward.
It's the democratic process. We all run off of. We vote in.
I think one of the arguments was that 3 years wasn't enough to. It's definitely not enough to learn everything. I'm sure you're still learning stuff after all those years, but with proper support. I mean, that whole argument was based off of it's just a lone steward that's trying to do this all by himself.
Yeah.
And with
that's why you bring him in with the other
proper support and proper training. He's got 3 years to at least show that he wants to do it. Because a lot of our shop stewards they just have a title, and that's literally it. Yeah. They're not involved at all.
If you're a good steward, if you're learning these processes and you're progressing, you'll get voted in for another 3 years.
Yeah.
Is there a group, say for example, like UPS feeders or package car drivers or hub worker stewards that every steward's a member of, and they could feed off each other and share information? Is there a group created like that? Maybe there should be.
There should be, absolutely.
Instead of a lone steward, you know what I mean? You don't feel like you have a support group, but maybe create a group to where everybody's there.
There's a steward thread.
Is there?
We have a steward thread.
So it was created by your stewards, right?
Yeah, it was created by Carlos Briones. It was like we all go on the WhatsApp and we talk, but really nothing's really solved in there.
Nothing official.
Nothing official. People just, we just talk, and a lot of guys just voicing their frustration, and Brit talk circles, in that thing, because they keep information so close to their chest that they don't involve the stewards in anything, and they just pass down information and hope that the stewards pass it on. And when you question them on these things, Britt, he either won't answer or he'll just talk around in circles. You don't ever get a straight answer from Britt, never. And, unless it's something that he wants you to do, then he'll be straight up honest, and then you do what he wants. But if it's something that they don't support, he won't tell you it. He'll just talk circles around you. And to me, that's where the experience and strength comes from, is them being experienced and strong and just lying to the members and hoping that we pass on that, the bad information or whatever. And the stewards, like a lot of them do. I'm not bragging that I'm know this or I'm the most honest, but I try to be honest. I try to, when I became a steward, I try to represent. I know people voted me in, and I try to do my best to, like, abide by that. And I feel like I should be holding the union accountable, as well as we should be working on the contract.
I kind of want to get into this beer, and tell me what this is. This is damn fine beer, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, is it a different beer?
It's the same beer.
Is that one different than the other one?
No, it's all the same. Jimmy asked me to bring some varieties, but this is all I have for right now. But I got the lager that I'm trying to make more German-like, which is so hard. You think that Pilsner would be the easiest, but it's the hardest. The IPAs are easy. This is a stout, but this is Beer Nut product. Beer Nut helped me create this. It's a smoky porter, which you like. And then I told them what I was doing. I wanted a coffee beer. And so they put some grains to help with darker grains. And then, so I made that. And then I threw in whole beans of Vietnamese coffee. A lot of people don't understand Vietnam.
This guy doesn't like when he's talking about packing out water from a freshwater creek, dude, to brew his beer.
Yeah, where it has.
He doesn't mess around.
Yeah, so
he's gonna pack out 5 gallons of water on his back to make the cleanest beer he possibly can.
A mule, dude.
Well, a guy driving a truck, with a big bill, you got to do something, right? So, yeah, Beer Nut's a really good place to. They're very willing to help you create your craft, right? To help you get what you're looking for, and the beans was the last thing. It just soaking, and then you just go through the process. But if you don't have good product, your beer's not going to be good, and you have to be clean. You have to be really clean. Your house, everything has to be sanitized. So. There's a lot to it, but it's just using the recipe. And if you're a cook, sometimes you don't use a recipe, you just know how to make that food. I'm sure that Polynesians are really good at that, right? So, and so that's kind of like I had some kind of a cooking background from my mom, but it's just trial and error. You just never know. It's kind of when you had your mushroom farm, you had to find the mistakes and correct them. Right. That's the same thing with making beer and everything else. So, but I attribute a lot of this on the product, and Beer Nut has good quality. And if you get a lot of people buying the product, the grains and stuff get sold, instead of just sitting there. And but once again, you learn. And Mike wanted me to put this in a contest. So I says, well, let me try to make it again, because that's the other thing, is to make it consistent again.
For sure.
Yeah. But
because every batch is probably different, right?
Yeah.
It's the same beer, same everything, but everything might be a little different, right?
Exactly. And what did you taste like? I'm not the best at.
I taste a little bit of coffee. Great. It's good beer.
Does it have a smokiness to it? Because you can overwhelm the smoke or the coffee.
When I was tasting it and you said smoky, I do taste, maybe that's a little
smoky,
little influence from you, but it's a little smoky. Definitely a coffee. It's just like to me, it's a more robust Guinness, I would say.
Yeah, and Vietnam is known for robust coffee.
There you go.
But Mike, my buddy at work, said it was a great balance. So, but it's, sometimes I've made a beer by mistake where I just happened to make it right, and I couldn't go back to it. It was a Belgian triple. And a lot of its temperature has a lot to do with how the yeast performs, and too much or too little.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like cooking. You can make something that you can't duplicate. You're like, how the hell did I do that?
Yeah, the way you talk about it, man, just kind of excites me, because you're like the best of the best ingredients you can possibly find. You go and hike and pick wild hops and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some wild hops in Beer Nut. They couldn't tell me what kind of hop it was, but they had a garlic note to it. I'm like, garlic note, huh? So they say it grows all over the mountains of Wasatch Front, all over the place. So that's cool to be able to pick the fresh hops, get the water right out of the side of the mountain in a spring. And it just gets really creative, because you're trying to make something that no one else can make. Even the well water, this is actually well water. So from what I understand, the minerals complement this type of beer. And I'm way green with beer still. I mean, I'm just a beginner still. I don't even think I'm intermediate.
How long have you been doing it?
About probably as long as I've been a steward, about 15.
15 years.
But
yourself green still?
Well, because it's technical as hell. Let him talk about his mushrooms, and I'll just have a I'll just forget what he's saying because it's so foreign to me. It's like there's a lot, anything that you get into.
There's a real thing called mycophobia, which people, as soon as you say mushrooms, and I think, was it your dad that said, I'll never eat those, the puff balls?
Oh, yeah, the big puffy ones.
People always and only assume you're either talking about deadly mushrooms or psychedelics.
Exactly.
Now, when you speak of a mushroom farm, I grew edible gourmet mushrooms, and I was to the point where I was about ready to start selling them to a local farm.
Yeah.
But life changed and didn't end up happening. But
didn't one of them commit and then they withdrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You did all that work, and I mean, it's a chance for this.
I just want to clear that up because anytime anybody says growing mushrooms, your mind only goes to one place.
Yeah,
but you can grow oyster mushrooms and reishi and pio and shiitake and lots of good gourmet mushrooms.
I can't wait to use your idea.
John was growing legit mushrooms.
Yeah.
I was growing Lentinula edodes, Pleurotus ostriatus, Hericium arenaceus, and Ganoderma lucidum.
Wow. I couldn't remember that for the life. I had to
Those
write
are the scientific binomials. Well, let's wrap this up. I appreciate you guys coming down.
Thank you for inviting me, by the way, man. That's an honor. That's really cool, dude. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I think we stumbled our way through a first podcast.
Yeah. Well, and
just get better as we go.
Credit to John. Like, I know that you're wanting to bring the local into the 21st century. And so we're glad that John's aboard and support him 100%. But like, you know, I was kind of pushy on this podcast and now I see like, oh, this is you know.
It's how they say you can't rush a fine wine, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Trust the process. I laughed because I was doing a mic test and I was sitting in this chair just babbling because I needed my voice to be on mic. And I was like, maybe I'll grab this guy's leg and maybe I'll grab this guy's leg. There's something about that chair.
Yeah.
Oh,
he just grabbed my leg.
Yeah.
I was doing my mic test, like, maybe I'll grab this guy's leg. Anyway, I guess we'll sign out. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.